Hey, thank you all. Chris Witmayer, this is Frank right here. I'm from NASCAR Productions. Frank is with us from Oracle. They recently acquired Front Porch Digital, an asset archive solution, HSM. We're going to show you something we've been working on for quite some time. It's been very, very successful. This is how we actually archive all of our content. There we go. All right, getting that clicker to work. We've ingested about 500,000 hours of content. We do about 2,000 hours per month. This project started somewhere around 2006, 2007. And during that time, we've come up with what we call interdependency, okay? So we think about this, companies come and go, projects come and go. And what we've done is we've broken it down into these different layers: ingest, logging, editorial, transcode, transmit, the file system, and of course, the storage architecture below. And throughout the last 7, 8, 10 years, each one of these has changed with the exception of actually Front Porch. And that's actually really good when you've got an archive. You don't have to keep redoing it all. So we acquire in many different formats. We believe that the creative people should be creative, no matter how much of a headache it causes for us, right? They want to have a new camera, they want 4K, 8K, and whatever else comes up next. So as you can see, we acquire in P2, we've got Replay in there, Alexa, Red, etc. Whatever they can mount to a car, we will let them do. We transcode this to a ProRes format, that's our mezzanine file, as well as a proxy at H.264. Right now we've got somewhere around 600, 800 terabytes of proxies that are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely replicated between Charlotte, our main office, and Daytona. And there we go. We also do automatic QC. One of the things we've built in this entire process is a fair amount of automation. While we think people are great, they're not very efficient. And so we continue to move forward with ways that we can make sure that files are checked correctly every single time, right? You know, when we first started out as tape ops and dub guys, we weren't checking all those files at front, back, and the middle. I don't know if we actually did that. But in this particular system, we can do that. It's pretty accurate, and if it QCs correctly, it goes to the incomplete archive. There we go. Closer. That's a lot of zeros right there. 10 million metadata points. Someday someone will put a comma in that slide. Not today. That's correct. We've got 10 million metadata points that have been logged by our staff right now. They work 5 days a week, 2 shifts of 8 hours apiece. But they've been logging this content, every single metadata. Over 128 metadata fields have been logged. And of course, we look at more ways to automate this whole process. And that equates to about 15 petabytes of content, right? So growing at 1.5 petabytes a year. Last year I put this slide up, it was 1 petabyte. So we'll see about 2 petabytes next year. So the question is, how do we do it?
Yep, you went past one there.
We find a reliable clicker and slides that will work. That right there is supposed to be showing workflow management, right? At the end of the day, people talked for years about asset management. It's really about workflow management and quality APIs. So we have a workflow management tool in this particular case. It's the Levels Beyond Reach engine. And what those diamonds are actually really long arrows that got squished courtesy of the screen here. But what that's supposed to say is that the workflow management tool actually utilizes and controls the ingest, the logging features, the editorial, the transcode, and in this particular case, the archive, which Frank is going to talk about briefly, all using web-based APIs, right? Through RESTful APIs, we're capable of controlling all of this. Again, with interdependency, we can actually remove each one of these pieces, right? We can change out our logging solutions, our ingest solutions, as things begin to change for us. We store a lot of content, on-site LTO, off-site LTO, proxies on-site, and proxies off-site as well. So we've got lots and lots of tape out there. And of course, with the cloud coming around and people starting to talk about that, we look at how we can use that. But for now, we have a copy somewhere in a salt mine in Kansas, and of course, a local copy in Charlotte. So our architecture, right? This is where Frank's going to start to talk about what he's doing with the cloud and such. But right now, we've got online, and we've got nearline content. And then we've got our cache disk. The cache and the actual LTO are controlled by Front Porch Digital and Oracle. And what that allows us to do is, again, as we need content, we request it through those APIs. The humans really don't know where it's coming from, whether it's immediately on cache or if it's on tape itself and moving it back and forth. And recently, Frank, you've been talking about some of your cloud-based solutions. Do you want to go over that?
So with Oracle and Diva, the Diva software, what it's really, our next release, which is coming out in the next couple weeks, is really going to drive is the ability to migrate content across different mediums for storage, whether it's cache, as you see here, LTO or cloud. So with Diva, you will be able to not only point your content locally, whether that's on disk or LTO, but then you can also choose what would amount to be a nearline storage with millisecond response times for first click to data, to a longer archive storage, which is a longer retrieval time. However, you then end up saving money based on the retrieval time that's most appropriate for that piece, for that asset. So if you have assets that you know that you need to keep, but you're not necessarily going to retrieve those on a regular basis, you can put them in a colder or a cooler archive storage that runs $1,000 a month per petabyte. So clearly a very aggressive price point that you can end up saving some money. Another actually feature within both of the Oracle storage platforms, which has been of great interest to a number of customers, is it removes the process of migrating from one version of LTO to another. So, you know, if you deliver us 8,000 LTO4 tapes, we will ingest all of that within a couple weeks, and then you then have an active archive that, if you ever choose to leave Oracle, we would return that content back to the customer in whatever the latest version of tape is, without you having to migrate from LTO4 to 5 to 7 to 9 to whatever the next one is.
It's very hopeful, isn't it?
Yes. It is.
Now, Frank, you mentioned before we use PFR, partial file restore.
Correct.
Really important, right? If you think about a 2-minute show, we can do a really quick highlight. It could be about 2 terabytes of content over that. Just all those quick shots. If I were to restore all that, that's kind of a pain. So we use partial file restore internally. What can you do in the cloud with that?
It's a great point, because a key feature of Diva, which is the way that it does partial file restore, it's true partial file restore. There's no restoral of the entire asset or object and then bringing back into individual pieces. It will actually go, regardless of the storage medium, it will identify the piece that you're looking for and pull it back. So even if it's on tape, it'll go to the appropriate spot within the tape and pull that small segment within the asset. The key with cloud is many of the people that are now taking a look at cloud and understanding of how the economics work is, kind of Roach Motel. You can kind of come in, but if you want anything back, you're going to end up paying for the restoral charges and then the distribution. So with partial file restore, the only thing that you're paying to restore is actually the content that you need, and that's a key feature within Diva that allows you to minimize the restoral charges that you're going to face from Oracle as you go to restore the content that you need as part of your workflow. And whether that's what would amount to be a nearline storage with Oracle Objects storage, or Oracle Archive Cloud, which is the longer SLA, but items that you don't necessarily need on a daily basis.
Excellent. So this is how we do it right now, and of course we're looking at other ways to continue. Right now we're in the process of migrating from LTO4 to LTO6. It takes a while.
15 petabytes.
120 megabits a second, right? So I don't want to hold you from lunch, but if you have any questions, let us know. Myself and Frank will be floating around, talk about our workflows. So thank you.
Thanks.